wait a second.
I have a state one, but so
Jim, anywhere in place to put his camper in?
So that should be going in tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
Who's gonna do your work for you?
Katie.
Here's on job.
5:35, I call me in the order, if you could join me for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would like to read proclamation, just so I don't think so. Fortunately. Proclamation for National Night Out 2026. Whereas the National Association of Town Watch is sponsoring a unique nationwide crime, drug, and violence prevention program on August 4th, 2026, called National Night Out. And whereas the 43rd Annual National Night Out provides a unique opportunity for Hiawatha to join forces with thousands of other communities across the country in promoting cooperative police, community crime, and drug prevention efforts. And whereas Hiawatha Police Department plays a vital role in assisting the citizens of Hiawatha through crime, drug, and violence prevention efforts in Hiawatha, and is supporting National Night Out 2026 locally. And whereas it is essential that all citizens of Hiawatha be aware of the importance of crime prevention programs and the impact that their participation can have on reducing crime, drugs, and violence in Hiawatha. And whereas police community partnerships, neighborhood safety, awareness, and cooperation are important themes of the National Night Out program. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Becky Schamberg, do hereby call upon all citizens of Hiawatha to join the Hiawatha Police Department and the National Association of Town Watch in supporting the 43rd Annual National Night Out on August 4th, 2026. Further, let it be resolved that I, Mayor Becky Schamberg, do hereby proclaim Tuesday, August 4th, 2026 as National Night Out in Hiawatha. Chief, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I know there, we'll be having some food for folks to come on by and come visit with the officers and get a chance to demonstrate.
Sounds good. All right, consent agenda. Are there any questions for that? John, I would,
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented with the correction to the signed date, ordinance 2150.
Second.
been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion?
All in favor?
All
All opposed?
motion passes 5-0. Moving on to public comments. We'll start with Mark Milroy. If you'd like to come to the microphone.
I live on Kickapoo and the water runs down the alley. And I think it's, the gentleman's name is Weldon. He lives at Kickapoo and Second. And the water after the rains rushed down there, you know, and now there's a big crack or big, you know, because the gravel just washes right out on Second Street and nobody does nothing about it. So of course I went and got my wheelbarrow a couple days ago and I got some of the smaller, you know, places and put the gravel back in it, but I can't do that. I'm just, you know, just wondering, and there is some, looks like there's some asphalt that has been put in there some time ago. I don't know when. But every time the big rain comes, then just, you know, and the guys say that, I mean, you know, we're supposed to take care of the alley, but I don't know what to do about it, because if I put rock in there, which I don't have money to put rock in there, it's just gonna wash out again, so I don't know what to do about it. It doesn't, the rest of the alley isn't that bad, but it's just where it goes downhill to Second Street, you know, and then, like I said, the gravel just sits there and on the Second Street, and nobody does anything about it. I mean, I think it was last year, I said, I talked to a couple of the city workers, And they said they really couldn't do much about it because we have to take care of it ourselves, but, you know, I don't have any kind of machinery or anything to move that gravel unless it's by hand, so. You know, I'm just trying to figure out what to do with it, because that's my way to the house. So, you know, instead of, you know, driving in the ruts all the time, then, you know, I'm trying to figure out a way to, you know, fix it.
I agree, the alleys are a challenge. I mean, you are definitely not the only one that's had issues with, especially with these rains that we've had that. So I don't know, Brad, if you wanted to kind of comment on what we do about alleys, I mean, what can be done. Or if it's just one of those other things that's a bigger issue that we'll decide if there needs to be changes.
I believe that to be the case. I know at some point in the past, it was changed to where the city no longer maintained the alleys. I know there's been times in the past that we did. And during my time here at the city, that was changed. That's more of a policy issue. Something that we can definitely discuss tonight during our budget work session. I mean, I've had some ideas about what we can do about alleys, about good ways to try to help alleviate some of these problems. There's quite a few problems that can come forth and that can be presented in alleys. We have manholes back there, things like that. I think a broader area for discussion, it's definitely a policy issue, so.
So we are having a budget workshop later on, I mean, after this meeting, and that, I mean, I do believe it's something we need to talk about, but. I mean, we always don't have the answers right now, but I appreciate you bringing this to our attention.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know, like I said, it's just behind Mr. Weldon's house. The rest of the alley is fine as far as I'm concerned, but just where it starts downhill and then it comes to Second Street. And then, like I said, puts big old ruts in there and, you know, I don't have any way to, except just my arms and legs. And, you know, so I don't have any way to fix it, because if it's gonna do it again, you know, so.
So it's the water running down the ditch and then washing out the alley?
It's just running down the alley.
Oh, it's coming down the alley?
Yeah.
Washing out.
Yeah, I mean, if you drive by between Kickapoo and Potawatomi, you can see that, I mean, the rut that's not filled up is about this deep, I would say. You know, and the other ones, I've actually took my wheelbarrow and I scraped the rock off the road and actually put it up there a couple of days ago, but, you know, I can't get out there and do that too much. And now, I mean, I got all the rock that I can get off of the street itself, because it's pretty easy to get it, but then whenever you get actually in the alley, then it's just, you know, it's rougher to get the rock off the top than what's already down there. So, you know, but like I said, nobody, and I don't have any machinery to do anything with, so, I mean, like I said, you can just drive by and it's on actually, the road is on the south side of the alley. You can just, you know, see it and it just, I don't know, you're looking at maybe 15, 20 feet, I guess, from the Second Street or somewhere in there, and, you know, it's just. And then I drive my truck up through there, so I gotta kind of keep it to the north side, you know, and I kind of drive on Mr. Weldon's yard just a little bit, so I don't have to worry about getting in that rut. And I've never come out to yell at me or anything, somebody yet. So, you know, I just don't wanna have to drive in that rut all the time. Like I said, if you put rock in there and then you get rain, it's just gonna, you know, and you can actually see the asphalt that's actually kind of in the middle of the alley so far up, and it's still there. I don't know if you can just like cut part of it off and just put asphalt from that particular part that's going down and then to the Second Street. I don't know. So that's.
So Mark, quick, this is between Kickapoo and Potawatomi,
Yes,
right? The alleyway at the end, and when it rains, it flushes all the gravel up.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure.
Yeah, it's just behind us, like I said,
We live
103,
103.
yeah. But that's the alley I use because I park my, yeah, I park my truck behind my garage. So I use that every time, you know, so, but it's just behind, I think Mr. Weldon used to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So, but it's just right behind his house, and then I think it's Second and Kickapoo. So everything that's a problem is right behind his house, because it comes down and then it just, you know,
Flushes right on.
yeah, and then.
I just needed to get my mind's eye exactly
Yeah.
where you're talking.
I like I said, you just drive down Second Street and you see it.
I'm pretty sure I drove through that and thought that was a pretty good route.
But like I said, you just put it back in there and then it'll
It'll just.
raise again and do it again, so I don't know what the solution is. Like I said, the gravel is gone, but the asphalt, the pieces of asphalt that are still, I don't know, because it's been there ever since I've lived there as far as I remember. The asphalt is still sitting there in the alley, it's just the gravel that seems to wanna leave. You know, so, anyway.
Okay, well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that you came in. Angela. This is the best downtown project.
I just wanted to point out and say thank you to the people, or private donors who stepped up to purchase the rest of the brackets needed for the downtown veterans project so it can move forward. I'm a little disappointed that the citizens had to cover the expense that should have been an easy decision for the city. The families are already paying for the banners to honor their loved ones, and asking the community once again to step up and for that was relatively small remaining costs sends the wrong message about our priorities. When our city budgets, we find things for like Spotify and other things, it's difficult to understand why supporting a project that honors the men and women who defended our freedoms was viewed as too much to ask. These veterans sacrificed so that all of us, including this council, could gather here tonight, speak freely, and vote according to our convictions. They deserve more than words on Veterans Day. They deserve a city that demonstrates through its actions that their service matters. This project should never have been controversial. It should have been something that our entire community and our city government could proudly stand behind. So tonight, I hope this council reflects on the message that was sent by putting a halt on that. Thankfully, general citizens ensured that the project will be completed despite the obstacles, but I believe Hiawatha Can should do better. We owe our veterans more than gratitude after the fact. We owe them the leadership that reflects the values they fought.
So Angela, I'm gonna have to finally say something. Cause I know for one, the comment came out that I said we had to pump the brakes or we had to slow down. And to immediately take that as a Shamrock doesn't support this project was so taken out of context and not appreciated. At no point did I ever say, I don't want to do this project. But when we first initially came into it, discussed as a commission, what the cost was, it was a lot less than what we were originally told. So all we had to say is we just have to make sure that we're all on the same page. And when we say it's just a little bit of money, I mean, at this point, we look at everything. And so, to discuss it and debate it on Facebook and never talk to the actual people who have said anything is a little frustrating. So once again, I think the project is fantastic. The city is absolutely grabbed onto it. When our city workers are out there putting all the brackets up, putting the banners up, or storing the banners, I appreciate that the county started this whole project. It's wonderful, but if, just because we at some point need to say, let's check and make sure we're all on the same page, that doesn't mean it's not supported. And to imply or infer that I don't support the veterans and appreciate what they've done, I don't really appreciate that.
I didn't
So,
post anything about it.
I'm just saying in general, but there was Facebook discussion, which was just kind of funny because I rarely get on Facebook, rarely, because that's not how I want to get my information. And for some reason, when I'm volunteering at the Legion baseball game, and something comes up on Facebook about what I said, I was like, holy cow, this isn't right. I so appreciate when people come and talk to me face to face, or come and talk to any of the commissioners and then go on to talk to the city administrator, so we all have the same information. I mean, it's much better that way instead of.
Well, I didn't see the post that was on Facebook, so I don't know. Well,
Well, anyway, I guess all I need to say, and like I said, I debated back and forth because I usually don't want to jump into that, but I felt, whenever I feel like there's an attack on character, and to say that we aren't supporting the vets, I just have to speak up a little bit. So thank you for coming up here and expressing your opinion. And I'm sincere when I say thank you to the county for getting this started. There's always going to be bumps. There are two different entities and we can work it out, but it has to be done face to face. So.
I agree, just automatically, people assume that we as a commission don't support the veterans and we don't support this project is absolutely absurd. That I will tell you. I think that that the community needs to know a little more about exactly what happened, how it happened, why it happened. And then we're up here to watch the money. And we just don't have a check that we can just keep on buying and keep on buying. We do put brakes on things when it starts to get out of hand and we need to look at our budget. So honestly, it is upsetting. It's upsetting to me because this commission definitely supports the veterans. And we're very proud of the project. We were happy to join in on it. And, you know, the fact that people went out and, you know, donated money and that kind of thing, that's great. We didn't ask them, the city cannot fundraise. But you have to give us an opportunity to look at the budget that everybody holds us so tightly to make sure we can afford to pay for these things. It's not, like I said, it's not just boom, let's just start writing checks. We have to come to agreements. And it's upsetting that the community just took that and ran with it. Like, oh boy, the city is not going to support this project, which is a lie, flat out lie. There's so many things that are on social media that go on about the city and what we say and what we do with zero research, zero anything. And boy, by God, that's the way it is. And that's not true. You know, I just want to throw Facebook out the window because we as commissioners, when I first came on as a commissioner, my goal and my thought was I wanted to be a voice for this community. I wanted to support my community. I was born and raised here. I love this community. It was suggested that I don't use my personal Facebook to conduct city business or to discuss city business for liability purposes. It's really easy to get sued if you use your personal Facebook to discuss city business. So in turn, all these asinine comments that I read that people truly believe, we can't respond to it. We can't say anything. We cannot even talk to each other unless we're right here in front of God and everybody. You know, yes, I'm upset about it. I'm sick of it. That I feel like my voice is actually stifled, like I'm not able to say the things I want to say. So I guess today is the day. You know, if people are going to make assumptions, walk into Brad's office, get some information. Don't just assume that everything you see on Facebook or social media is true, because it's not at all. So if you get upset by reading something, take the time to do some research before you add more comments to the nonsense. So that is all. And I'm sorry, I kind of went off on that a little bit, but it's just really infuriating. That is all.
Micro reminds on 6th Water and Airport Board.
What about to make me seem like I'm in a good mood? I had a couple different comments, and one of them is just checking in on where we're at with that. Last meeting, we said we didn't want to push back 2 weeks, but we're not on the agenda this time. What I'm worried about at that point is that we're gonna keep pushing back because it is a cost. And then it's gonna hit winter, and we're gonna be like, oh, well, it's winter, we can't do it, it's ground's frozen, and then I'm just gonna deal with it next spring. This is all gonna be a repeat of what we talked about, Brad. I have been discussing with Brad, not in his office, but over the phone multiple times and through emails, and I think he sent some emails to you guys just for clarification on my stance and what I'm hoping to do there. And then the other thing, so update on that, I guess, where you guys are kind of standing, because I know we had talked about the cost and finding kind of different avenues that we can go down, but as Brad and I discussed, that's really the only way to do it is the right way, and I feel like we were presented with the right way, even though it is a cost, and that's just something that you guys have to work out amongst yourself. I have no control over that, as long as we can progress on it, I guess. I can't really complain too terribly much.
I mean, you're right, you're not on the agenda, so I mean, I figured that you'd be here. We are still, I mean, we told you 2 weeks ago that we are going to do something. And we had the.
Well, and I'll keep coming until something's done. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but
Well,
it's
okay.
just, there's so much going on in the city that I do not want it being dropped out of focus as these other problems are getting dealt with. So I'm gonna keep kind of being that little needle poke in your back, and I might get annoying, and that's why in that call and that email, I talked to Brad about changing my demeanor and trying to be more presentable and more easy to work with, because you guys are dealing with people on Facebook. I mean, as a commissioner, half the town's gonna hate you, half the town's gonna love you. I don't wanna be one of the people that hate you, and I don't want you guys hating me. I just wanna be easy to work with, so that way we can come to a solution in a timely manner to solve the problem.
And I appreciate that. I mean, like I said, until you hear from this commission up here that, oh, no, we're not doing anything, which I'm not saying, that's when you believe it. Other than that, continue the conversation with Brad. We will continue to discuss it. As I told, Mark, that we're doing some budget discussion again today. So actually, you couldn't have picked a better time, because this is where we're getting real serious about where's the money gonna go. So do we have plan B, C and all that to lay out? No, we don't. But that doesn't mean it's not gonna get done.
Right.
Something's gonna get done, we just don't know for sure what it's gonna be.
I would say that I did drive by, and I think the only way to really fix it is move the house. That's my opinion. I think we're gonna have a problem regardless, so the house needs to be moved. And I think that'll be the cheapest and reasonable way of fixing this forever.
The cheapest and most reasonable thing is kicking me out of my home.
I mean,
Not say that.
it's gonna be a problem regardless, but there's just, it's the design of the street. And, you know, the house might be able to be moved relatively quick, I don't know, but I don't think that even they have prepared that we're gonna ever actually fix it. It just should not have been built the way it is. That's my opinion. I'm not an engineer, but that's the way I feel more comfortable with fixing it. The driveway is just right at the end of the road. You might be able to get away with using the garage and having, putting a big storm drain right in front of your house, but there's no good way of doing it and guaranteeing you that it's not gonna happen again without moving the house up. I think.
I don't think I even need a never again. I just need to not deal with it 8 to 15 times a
Oh,
year.
yeah, and I agree.
But, because obviously we're gonna get those real bad rainfalls, but I don't know, I don't feel like me having to move for improper infrastructure construction is really a reasonable thought.
Well, it's just another idea, you know, we have to be realistic. I mean, $100,000 repair to maybe not fix it, you know, that's a big expense for the city as well.
Right.
So this is why we're talking about different options.
We're gonna keep working.
I guess the other thing would be the airport board. I joined that April or May. I talked to Dawn a couple times. I know she's got a lot on her plate. We just need one meeting to set up a secretary, so that way she don't gotta deal with that. And we can set our own meetings, set our own meetings, do whatever we need to do. To my understanding, the board hasn't met in years, or at least they can't find approved minutes for it for years previous. And when I first joined, it sounded like there were quite a few issues out there. And I'm not sure how we get those issues solved if the board can't meet or won't meet.
Well, people aren't gonna be one, I mean, I don't know, that's, if people aren't, you're right, we need to meet. A lot of times we see that happen, where committees get formed and then they just kind of, we don't hear from them again, so, yeah.
We did schedule a meeting, we did have, only two showed up.
Yeah, me and John.
So I don't know if we do that again, and at what point we have to look for new members. I don't know the ins and outs of that, but
Well, I don't either. I just joined and I haven't even got to experience any single meeting. I just wanted to join to try and help serve my community just a little bit more in a position that I could, and haven't been able to done so.
Okay.
Aren't you appointed to the airport board?
Yes.
So that's all. How many members are there? 5?
5-person airport board shall be appointed by the mayor, ratified by a majority of the governing body, and shall consist of a chairperson and vice chairperson, secretary/treasurer, who shall be elected annually by the airport board members. The members of the board shall be appointed on staggered terms initially. 1 shall be appointed for a 1-year term, 2 shall be appointed for 2-year terms, and 2 shall be appointed for 3-year terms. Thereafter, all board members shall be appointed for a 3-year term.
Are the runways And work in order.
Don't know.
I knew they were getting repaired.
But as a member that's not able to meet, I really, unless I go out there and inspect it myself, but I'm not any sort of runway engineer or anything, so. I mean, on the board, I'm just a town citizen that's on it. I think you guys had to have two or three that are actual users of the airport or whatever, and rescue and stuff.
And were the other members just not able to meet on
I,
that
some of them
particular
are
day?
farmers, so they're particularly busy, but I'm a business owner, I'm particularly busy, and I always make time to show up to all the meetings I do. So I think it's just about finding people that, and I don't know their situations at all, I'm just saying, if you're too busy to attend any of the meetings, we kind of need people that are able to do so. I don't know how important the airport is here necessarily to everybody, but
It's
like
pretty.
I said, I just wanted to,
A lot of people use it.
find a way to do something to serve the community and not always just stand up here and bicker, and so that's what I did, because that's what was open, and I haven't been able to do any part in that, which is a little disappointing to me, and I've told Brad that if we're not gonna meet, I'd rather just resign than hold a false position. I don't wanna do that, I do wanna find a way to help serve the community, because as a construction contractor, I mean, this community puts food on my table and pays my bills by giving me employment, and I wanna find some small way to be able to give back that I can, so. I don't. Not much I can do in my power there, in terms of getting that stuff going until we have the first meeting at least, and those positions within the board can be voted on, and we can kind of handle things ourselves.
Well, I appreciate that, bringing that to our attention, and we will need to get that taken care of. What good is it, a board if you're not gonna meet?
Brad, is this something we can look into?
Yes.
Yeah,
We had,
because
we had talked
it
about
has
it,
to be organized. They have to have certain meetings that are,
and so I think in the
I think
code, it says.
I gave everybody the contacts of each other. And I know John had reached out to the other contact of my husband. But we did send out, an invitation to that meeting, and, you know, people that showed up were John and Mike and myself. However, I'm not their secretary, so,
exactly.
and
Yeah, I
so
appreciate you.
they need to, come together and come up with a time. And then file their minutes with them, so I have copies. of each one.
That's something we're gonna get involved in somehow.
I got the members, I went to do the members, and got Micah and Don appointed. And then that's sort of the commission from me.
So can we send them out a letter and say, look, if you wanna be involved in this,
They do,
you know, please
reach
respond
out to
by
them.
this day and.
We reach out to them, and they do, Jim Ring will come back and he does not, so. We do have to fulfill that one, but all the rest of them, there will be a deputy.
Just don't give up on it, Micah. Anything.
I don't intend to, that's why I wanted to mention something tonight.
Don't just quit.
I don't plan, I don't know, a lot of you guys don't really know me, but quitting's not really a thing that I like to do. When I started my business, a lot of people told me I was kind of an idiot, there's too many people around here, and I found the exact opposite, and I work my butt off to make sure that it succeeds, so quitting is not really something that's. How long have I been coming up here complaining about water? And I told you, I'll keep coming until we find a solution, and I think my final comment on that would be, unless you guys intend on helping me find a new home and helping me move all my crap and helping me find a shop that I'm able to work in when it rains, moving the house is not an option. I'm not the house owner, so I don't have the final say in that, but, I don't think that's some way that we should think about it. I think the proper infrastructure is the proper way to think about it. No, it might not fix the problem completely, but we can definitely dilute the problem. And sadly, that does cost money. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, we have nothing under old business. Moving on to new business, item 1, the RHID public hearing and ordinance 2053. I would entertain a motion to open the RHID public hearing.
Make a motion to open the RHID public hearing.
there a second? Second. It's been moved and seconded to open the RHID public hearing. Any further discussion? Not done.
All in favor?
Aye. Motion passed. Oh, what did you? Motion passed 3-2. So we will open the public comment part of this hearing. Just a reminder, when you come up to the microphone, please tell us who you are. And then we ask that you have your comments, keep it as close to 3 minutes as possible. And we are ready to go.
Can we ask questions at this part?
Yes.
Oh, definitely. I'm just asking, because I read the paperwork, so previously we had discussed we were doing this RHID, and then you guys were gonna be meeting with the county and the school district. If I read it correctly, are we not doing it that way anymore, and they're required to file a petition, is that correct?
Actually, yes, that is correct, and so. There's been a lot of course, these RHIDs, I mean, I don't think that any of us that sat up here, even including myself, really fully understood. All the intricacies of the state statutes and things like that. And so how this process works is by state statute, the city of Hiawatha passes an ordinance adopting the RHID plan that was presented. If within a prerequisite time period, I believe that's 30 days, the ordinance being published, the county and or the school district, which are the two major taxing entities, if they file a protest in form of passing a resolution, then that makes us repeal that. And so that's the way that works. They don't actually vote like we do to pass the ordinance. They just, we are required to give them information that they need, you know, ask questions, things like that. And like I said, I reached out I sent everything that I have on it to the county commissioners, school district, same way. There was requirements as far as, you know, certified copies of the resolution that was passed to hold this public hearing. Those were all delivered. There's a lot of legal requirements, a lot of intricacies. Definitely a learning process on my part. And so a lot of misconception early probably with me, which is probably where some of your confusion is coming from.
Well, I guess I questioned just because I know at some of the other meetings that I've been to, the comment was made that the city would come back and be meeting with the county and the school district at those meetings. So do they understand that that's how it is now? And that-
They do.
Okay.
I've sent them that information.
Okay. Okay, all right, thank you.
Mhm.
Anyone have a public comment? Okay, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
I move that we close the public hearing for the RHID.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to close the RHID public hearing. Any further discussion? Not done.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed 5-0. I guess we move on to the next. I would entertain a motion to approve ordinance 2153.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 2153, adopting the development plan for the Villas of Beautiful Maples project, and also establishing the boundaries for the RHID district, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign all necessary documents.
Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2153, adopting the development plan for the Villas of Beautiful Maples project, and also establishing the boundaries for the RHID district, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign all necessary documents. Is there any further discussion?
David Anderson, who is part of the development team, is here in person today for any questions that anybody might have for him. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of that. That he actually is present. I believe Michael Webb is on Zoom right now. So just if anybody has any questions, they are available for anything you have, so.
You're welcome.
Hearing none. Don?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Nay.
Motion passed 3-2. Would like to adjourn the RHID public hearing and return to the regular, or I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the RHID public hearing and return to the regular city commission meeting.
Second.
Then move in second. Any further discussion? Not done.
All in favor? All opposed?
Motion passes 5-0. Okay, where are we at? Item number. Thank you, Mr. Anderson.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2152, series 2026 bond issuance.
So yes, ordinance 2152 authorizes the issuance of bonds that are tied to the last phase of the Northwest Station project. And so when this project when we went out to finance, which is the lagoon that we just built at the old sewer plant, which we now put in the Northwest Station, it carries quite a bit of the sewage for the city of Hiawatha. And really what this is designed to do is kind of slow down that inflow and infiltration, that rainwater that we see getting out of our sewer system. And so the way that this process was supposed to go was that we obtained a KDHE loan for the project finance. Now, that was only ever supposed to be temporary financing. There have been some turnover at USDA within the last 2 years, and it's kind of pushed this USDA closing back quite a bit, which has caused us to make payments on the KDHE loan that we didn't expect. And so, like I said, under financial considerations, the current loan through KDHE it's at $130,000 a year, which it really severely limits what we're capable of doing in the sewer department under the current budget. This USDA loan is significantly less, but it also adds in some loan forgiveness. It adds in some CDBG grant as well to us to actually lower that principal down. So the KDHE loan, if you ever look at the two, the KDHE loan, the bond principal is higher than what the USDA loan is. But it brings that payment down to $53,000 a year. Why this is very important to us right now is we have another phase of this project. We're currently under consent order through KDHE to do something about the rainwater that's getting into the system. I mean, so the way that the projects that we have approved by KDHE right now is a path that we're going down. And so building these lagoons effectively account for that. We have another project that's coming. It's going to be, very similar in price, $53,000 a year would bring that down to where when we get our next bond payment going for this next phase of this, that we're able to do that within our means now without raising rates. I mean, that's really kind of our end goal. It's not to have even more of an impact on the consumers as, our rates are already fairly high. Now, we definitely have some infrastructure problems here in Hiawatha, trying to keep everything down to where it's affordable. It's tough, but, and this isn't the only thing that we can do here as far as infiltration. This is once again why we buy, our camera. Now, this is why we're doing some of the things that we're doing here. But that's why this ordinance here actually, authorizes the issuance of these bonds. So that's what it is. I'm open to any questions that anybody might have on it. And let's take from there.
I don't have any questions.
Are there any questions from the public? Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2152, authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds, series 2026, and authorize the mayor, city clerk, and city attorney to sign all necessary documents.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve ordinance 2152. Any further discussion? Not done.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passes 5-0. Item 3, Longfellow and Morrill Avenue intersection. Nick?
Good evening. We're going
to try to work the intersection over with some asphalt. On a further review, it's tired, they need some rework, I think it's got some great problems. If we're gonna do anything, might as well tear it all out, put it in right. Travel through. Put it down on the Social Street Capital. That's where it'll come out of. Timelines, close,
That school's not too far away.
it's getting real close. But we're gonna try to squeeze it in yet, and have it the best, so.
It's just gonna include some of the curbing going around Redskin Drive. And then there's a good chunk of curbing missing going into the middle school too.
Yeah. This will include some of that, yeah, as for further down, no. If he's in the area, we definitely have to look at it.
I think something like that should fall within my authority. I know I've already given the go ahead on that curve that's there, and all that should fall within my authority, so we can get that in.
Well, buses are, little buses pull.
Yeah,
up.
there's 15-20 foot of curb missing there. Yeah. And both schools.
Intersection asphalt now with concrete. Half of it's concrete. There have been some patches that under the past and someone's already there, so they'll finish it out.
Well, there's a lot of traffic there with buses and stuff.
Heavy traffic.
No.
I entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve to remove and replace the intersection of South Morrill and Longfellow at a price of $31,601.60, funding to come out of the special street capital. If approved, JB can get it done before school starts.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to for all the repairs at the intersection of South Morrill and Longfellow. Any public comment? Any other discussion? Ron?
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed 5-0. Okay, Brad, how much for the first one?
Give me 15 minutes on those.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion that the city commission recess into executive session in the conference room for 15 minutes to discuss matters of potential litigation. The justification for closing the meeting is to consult with the city attorney to discuss matters privileged on the attorney-client relationship. The open meeting will resume at 6:33. And the commission chambers and to include the commission and city administrator.
Second.
Moving second, any further discussion? Not sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed 5-0.
Yeah.
Okay. I can make a motion that at 6:38, the city commission is called back in open meeting. The commission took no binding action during the executive session. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Not,
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion passed 5-0. I can make a motion for the city commission to recess into executive session in the conference room for a period of 10 minutes to discuss matters regarding the issue of potential city personnel. Justification for closing the meeting is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel. The open meeting will resume at 6:49. In the commission chambers and to include the city commission and city administrator. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Don?
All in favor? Opposed?
Motion passed 5-0. You make a motion that at 7:06, the city commission is called back into the meeting to commission to provide an action during the executive session.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And we, so,
Aye. Motion passed 5-0. Communications, Brad, anything you need to add?
Nothing on that, is the complaint that we received is something that we're currently working on, so we're going down that road.
Moving on to whatever, governing body comments, I've kind of already said what I wanted to say, so I have nothing else. Dave? Or actually, I do want to say, treat you guys, the more guys go, if you're drinking lots of water. And it's not pleasant out there, so make sure you and your crew are taking care of yourselves.
Week from tomorrow is the election, so everybody come out and vote, and we're down at the Baptist Church this year, not the Fisher Center. And that's also the same night as the National Night Out.
Tom?
I have nothing, thank you.
Brian?
I have nothing.
Laura?
I'd like to bring up National Night Out. I love National Night Out. I think it's a really cool opportunity for the community to meet the officers and to, you know, on a personal level. And, between the pool and movie, I'm assuming you're doing the pool and the movie and the hot dog cookout and that sort of thing.
I believe it's the whole thing.
The whole thing,
Okay.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. I always look forward to that. So anyway, I hope the community, comes and supports that.
Okay. Do we need a motion to adjourn or just a motion to?
you need to motion to adjourn to workshop.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn to a budget workshop.
Second.
Moving second, I think, John?
All there.
Close.
Passed 5-0.
Guys are leaving when it's just gonna get fun.
Wait, what's the best time to
I don't need, if anybody needs to quick break or anything like that, go ahead, but I plan to keep this tonight as short as I possibly can, because I'm not going to be presenting anything on the screen. So I'm going line item by line item, that will be at the next meeting, because that's when we really have to have things finalized, so we can publish what our actual numbers are, or our meeting on the 24th. That's when we'll actually finalize our budget, it's August 24th. Now, we committed to stay revenue neutral this year, and so I just need an answer. The discussion I need tonight, I have really 3 major questions for the commission tonight, so I can work through the numbers, finalize what I'm doing. And like I said, 3 questions tonight, that's what I need. The first question I'm going to talk about tonight was in our budget, we have 3% cost of living increase. That's as part of the numbers that are in there now. Is that something that we are wanting to do? I did not discuss this, last year. This wasn't much of a discussion, but I did want to discuss it this year just to make sure that, the commission and I are on the same page as far as what we're looking at with salary. That's one of the questions I had. There's still time to make those adjustments if needed.
I'm in favor of the 3%. Is that even cost of living? The
I think
increase?
3.6 is cost of living, if I'm not mistaken, 3.7. If, I might have made that up, but I think it's 3.6.
Okay.
So I'm all for giving employees raises because obviously it's very well deserved. I think our employees are doing a fantastic job. But I also think it's incredibly important for them to realize the amount of money this city is putting out on top of salaries, on top of their hourly wages. If you look at the fact that the city puts 9.71% of each employee's salary into the Capers program. That we pay a huge portion of health, the dental, the life insurance, we even have mental health insurance that I don't think anybody's even used yet. We have to pay for unemployment insurance, we have to pay for FICA, we have to pay for workman's comp insurance. And all kidding aside, if you look at the employees' benefits, that's another 30 grand that you're making, each employee, every employee. If you were to add that all up. And I don't think people look at that and recognize just how much money is going out for wages. And everybody just kind of looks at the bottom line on your paycheck, oh yeah, why make this, well, they're not thinking about all those other. I mean, 10%, we're 9.71% we're putting out just for retirement alone.
I mean, I myself, I'd rather it be not just a 3% to everybody. I'd rather have people have evaluations and give people that are going above and beyond more of a raise and incentivize and incentive people to do better. If you just.
I don't like the across the board thing either. I don't like that 3% for everybody. Because there's people that don't deserve 3%.
Right.
Right. And there's people that deserve much more than 3%. That's our policy though currently, isn't it?
Currently, so that's why I wanted to bring it up, and so this is why, and actually, to Brian's point, that's something that I did look at today in our personnel policy, is it does have something in there about performance evaluations. Now, for almost the balance of my career, they have been done. They were early in my career. I know I had a previous supervisor that I really enjoyed doing them. It wasn't a bad thing when he did them. That is something that we can bring back. I know it's something that we've discussed internally more than a few times, and that would even be for, the commission. For people like myself, having an evaluation every year can be beneficial.
I think evaluations are great because they tell you what you really need to be working on and they tell you that, hey, that you've been doing a great job on this, that, the other, but just an automatic, when I was on PD, it's been 10 years, but we had evaluations, and if you got a bad evaluation, you could kiss that raise goodbye.
Sure.
But, I mean, am I out of line in saying every employee pops at least another 25,000 in benefits?
No,
25 to 30,000 additional benefits that they don't even think about. So I'm right on that, right?
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, we even do each other's
yeah,
evaluations, which gets kind of fun.
yeah.
When I first started out at Mac, we had to do our own.
I've heard of, I mean, I've been a part of some classes that we did things like that. I've heard of what you're talking about, Tom, but I've done some of that, like peer evaluation type stuff, and it can be interesting for sure, yes.
We had mid-year evaluations, so that if somebody wasn't performing like they were expected to perform, that they found out about it before the end of the year or whatever the main evaluation was. So they had a chance to make corrections or leave or whatever they thought they needed to do.
Kind of like mid-year checkup type thing.
And then would it be,
That has a lot more work to the whole process.
would that be department heads evaluating the people on their crew, or, because that would be a lot for you to do?
Yeah, I mean, so that's the way I would handle that, yes. I mean, it would have to be handled through department heads, supervisors, things like that, especially in the public works department now, the way that it's set up. That is how we would have to set that up. I would probably do the department heads themselves. The commission would do
Chain of command.
my evaluation, things like that. Or we can set that up any way we want. But that's how I would envision that, Kelly.
So to back up, I just looked at the projected COLAs, 3.7 to 3.8%.
Okay,
So would you still say it's fair for us to put the 3.3% in there for the budget and then we see how we go about doing it?
Did our health insurance come down this year?
I mean, we don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet.
We will know that comes up January first. We did change that to where it's tied to our fiscal year now, but we'll know that
I think it should be,
coming months.
I think that it should reflect what happens there too. We're already revenue neutral, and so if our insurance goes up 100 grand or whatever, we've seen in the past, which it probably won't, but
It's going to go up, there's no doubt. Mine already went up $350.
We should have better figures on that in October after our, after they have their report to the first week of the year. Also, a COLA is the cost of living rate, and you guys are talking about doing there, right?
Yeah.
So there are two different things.
Yeah, but we're just talking about merit raises, the fact,
So don't-
and that's what full was. I thought it was 3.6,
Yeah.
3.7. Or 3.8 million.
Okay, so we want to look at getting a system to where we have some. I believe this was done a few years back when they had kind of a pool of money. It was done for a different reason then, but where we were able to give raises based off of performance evaluations. Is this what I'm hearing? Okay,
It's gonna be tricky to get that figured out.
I got a template to work with. You know, like I said, we did it for a different reason. 2024 budget was a little bit different, but it was more to deal with getting people where they needed to be on the pay scale itself. We had a pool, we had a 5% pool, if you remember right.
Yeah.
And then we had our 3% raise plus 5% pool. That gave a amount of money for, merit raises. Different reason. It was to get people where they need to be, you know, so we don't lose people at that point.
Kind of like that.
what is the overall cost of the 3% to all of our employees, do you know?
Not off the top of my head, I'd have to look that up.
I like the idea that there's a pool that you start with and then an extra that.
I do too. I mean, I'm all for merit increases. I'm just not for across the line. Hey,
Yeah, across the
raise it
board.
or anything like that. I've never worked a job that actually.
Let me look.
No.
You could actually
had to earn it.
probably get you that figure pretty quickly.
I mean, I do think that the wages have gotten up quite a bit too, that we've got people in to where they should be and more than where we were per se, but
Yes, I do, that is something that we have definitely worked hard on in the past few years, is getting people where they need to be. I'm comfortable with that now.
You think everybody's where they should be?
I do, I think people always disagree with me on that, but I do feel like, you know, that we did work really hard getting people where they need to be. I mean, it wasn't, I don't want to get into it, I can get into it myself, but I mean, it was pretty shocking what some people were making, not more than, 5-6 years ago, so. And where they are now is more in line with what, they would, the government workers always get paid somewhat less than what you can make in a private entity. It's always that way. And this because our benefits are usually higher to compensate for it. Like health insurance is usually better through the government, like our retirement's better through the government. In a normal company, sometimes you can imagine the 401k, sometimes you don't. And so it's kind of, our benefits are better, our wages are lower, private entities or wages are usually higher, but the benefits are less. And so that's kind of where we're at. We can never get to where the private companies are, we're just never gonna do that. But we can get to where, we're able to pay people enough to work on High Street. We have really good people, I would really like to keep them if possible. Hang on. So the second question I have while I'm getting this figured up for you guys is. Our software that we're currently budgeting for the CIP, that's $25,000 a year. That we're budgeting for CIP for the next 5 years, that's what we agreed to. That's in the 2026 budget. Right now, that's in the 2027 budget. I have, I put a lot of time and a lot of thought into this, there's no secret among, employees here, how I feel about it. I made it clear this morning. It's hard for me to recommend that we go with BSNA software for our software program. And it's just because I believe that it's going to be too cumbersome with the amount of other software peripherals that we're going to have to make it work together. I don't know that it saves us time. And really, that's what we're talking about here. Is when we're talking about getting new software, and there's two things, accuracy and time. So right now it takes Dawn a good amount of time to go through something, bank statements, for example, would take a long time. Through some of these other software companies, BSNA was actually good on that. However, I don't know that we save ourselves enough money, but here's where the problem lies. We went out for an RFP on software. We had one that came back that really met what we needed, and that was Tyler Tech. But the biggest problem we have there is that we have $60,000 a year maintenance cost on that. And that's locked in for 3 years. And then we're going up 3% every year after that. And so while I might be able to look at our budget, like right now, I can say, okay, well, we can afford that for 4 years. After that, it's anybody's guess. I can see that it causes us budget problems later on. That's why I can't recommend Tyler Tech either. I feel like if we did something like that 10 years down the road, we're gonna say, this is a budgetary monster, we're gonna have to do something different. That's not something we want to do. And so, this is going to be my recommendation, and of course, I don't make that final decision, but my recommendation here is that we and not only that, but it's a big upfront cost. And so we're going to really rein into our CIP in order to pay for the software. We're gonna take up 2/3 of it in order to pay for the software upfront right now. What I would say is that we go into the future, we keep the $25,000 in there, let it build up a couple of years, tighten up that RFP, really have a hard look at what our real needs are. If we can cut any of the peripherals off that we maybe don't have now, it'd be great to have them, but maybe we can't afford them. And that we tighten it up, we go back out for proposals here in a few years. That'd be my recommendation.
Is there any negotiating with Tyler on that annual?
Well, not only annual, they're a big company, and so they're gonna say they're gonna lock us in for 3 years, then it's gonna be 3% out. They're just gonna fight.
Increase annual?
They're gonna just fight for the inflation rate, basically. Or what the project, or what they think the inflation rate's going to be. But
So then if we went with BSA, we'd still have to get smaller pieces of software.
that's
to
correct,
cover
like
everything,
keeping court management, things like that.
which would actually be kind of a cluster.
Could be. And those were really the two that probably, I actually like BSA software quite a bit. I think that they had a good demonstration. However, once you really get into it with the maintenance cost, trying to get all the software programs to work together, they can be cumbersome. And it may end up being worse for us than it was before. I don't know that. But I have concerns about that. Right now, G-Works is one package as far as what we do, time and attendance, court management, all of it is in one package. Yeah, I like having one back. Because of the way it's run. That's why I can't recommend BSNA. I just wanted to see if everybody thought that was reasonable or not, because that's $25,000 that we're talking about putting towards the CIP.
We don't need that software badly. I just really hate this.
We'll still have, did we budget 125 for this year for software?
We did, but that was an expense. So that's something that we don't have to spend. We budgeted to spend that in the CIP plan. We've actually only budgeted $25,000 to come out of the admin to go into CIP to cover that. So we're gonna try to break that up over 5 years and try to cover that cost instead of having a big, that'd be like almost a $4 million increase. If we try to do that out of our, our general fund, for example. What I tried to do with the CIP was make that so we're not having those big swings up and down with our mill levy or with anything. That we're able to kind of be able to know what we have every year. As best we can. I mean, things come up, but as best we can.
It's just that jumping off that cliff after 3 years, it makes me nervous. I don't know what they're gonna charge.
Does anybody have any other thoughts on that?
Well, I've already given you a thought, but it's,
There wasn't here.
since the yearly cost for Tyler is way high and BSNA doesn't, all the different pieces of it don't blend well together, I was gonna suggest taking some of the money from the bond that we took out for the street light and use that to make up to buy the software, but if we're not happy with either software company, then that doesn't get us anywhere.
Yeah, it's really the yearly maintenance cost is what we're, that's what becomes the cost of the time. And I know that the one, I don't know that they've done it, but the one, now that I did talk to, it just kind of a passing conversation more than anything was Fall City. They have Tyler, they're looking to go away from it, similar size. Same type of reason, I think they were up to like $70,000 or $80,000 a year. They probably have electric utility, they have more than us, but.
Maintenance.
For maintenance.
There's a chance there's any other software companies out there that we haven't heard from, that you're aware of?
Yeah, there's always that chance that there's something else out there. Sorry, I'm looking at numbers and I'm not seeing. I mean, it's gonna take a little bit longer to get done. What I'm seeing doesn't make sense, so.
Fact that we're still in negotiations with dispatch, doesn't help matters any.
Yeah, that money is in there. I mean, so that 125 that we offered, that is part of our budget as of right now. That's still kind of an unknown guess. But I do have that money budgeted. And so that will be in addition to anything. It's part of what we agreed to publish that last time at the meeting. That 125,000 is part of that. As is a 25,000. As is a 3% raise at this point. So do we want to leave the 25 in there?
I would say I would leave it and keep trying to figure out. Do next.
Okay.
Can we look for any other software?
We can, I mean, that's something that we can be reaching out to.
We'll keep looking, there's gotta be more than just two companies out there.
Right, and we ended up getting, you know, the 4 proposals, 3 verticals was very similar to BSN, actually it was less than, but, and also Cassell, we just did not care for it all, we didn't think that it was going to be any better than what we have now, and so it doesn't justify the cost, but there are companies out there that we can continue to look at.
I imagine you've asked around other cities what they do.
Mhm. All right, the final question that I have for you that really affects what I need to do is for the next 2 weeks, is we have an open position at the PD that we have not filled yet, and I need to know what we're going to do with that, so I can move forward and see what our plan is.
What is the open position?
It would be Janet Jeffrey retired, we never filled that position.
I'd like to see the money stay in their budget, but not fill a position, use the money to update some of the equipment.
I mean, is it okay if I ask the chief your input, or do you wanna have input on this? Not just at the will of commission, because that's what we hired you for.
So theoretically, I should have 10 people that are running.
I believe so, with the SRO, yes,
And right now I'm seeing 8. Is that correct?
that's correct, yes.
With that, I even made a proposal to Brad about a month ago or so about going to 9 and giving up that one person. And from 10 to 9. And the reason behind that was because of the kerfuffle with the dispatch. Trying to give our portion to try to achieve that. Considering the pay, and I'm specifically talking about Janet, pay and benefits, it came up to, if I remember right, close to $100,000 or whatever, to be able to provide that to offset the cost of the dispatch issue. But with that, also mentioned that I'd like to definitely fill that position to get to 9. So that way I can have that training time that I've talked to several folks about. Because we have some severe shortages when it comes to quality training and specific baseline training. And I'm talking about de-escalation, use of force, pursuit driving, everything that we need to have our basics covered that we don't have in the organization right now to the quality that we should to protect the organization from liability. I'm not going to disprove or discount anything Brad's saying or anyone. I just think that if we locked in at that 9th position, I would be able to do that, have the training that we need, but also to fulfill the expectations of the commission on code. I don't know if you've seen the last few times that we produced some stuff when it comes to the daily logs or weekly logs. We're starting to push code pretty hard. And starting getting out to those. We're already at the 2nd level where we've already gone through the contacts with citizens. Now we're going to the letters that we have to do. And after that would be even some NTAs. And of course, all that being documented, all that being taken care of, taking the full burden of Janet Jeffrey's old job and dispersing amongst the 4 line officers to fulfill those expectations that you have. To do that, though, gotta have the folks be able to do that. And consideration of losing Lane Martin as well and trying to just bring somebody on just to fill his position is not getting me up. It's just getting me level. So if I was to be asked, I would say I'd love to be at 9 because that would allow me to do those things I've mentioned. Being at 8, I'm bare bones and treading water. And even kind of having to push things like overtime, which is costly, and I'd rather not do that. So that's where I am.
I will say, my thought is, we have that budgeted right now. There's always turnover, not that I'm wanting to encourage our police officers to move on, but if the chief is asking for 9 for now, we do that, and then the next time, whenever that would happen, when the position opens up, he's gonna be in a better position to say, well, number one, hopefully a lot of that training will be up to par, and then whether or not we need to fill it in. But I just really believe we hired somebody to come in and do the job. This is what he's asking he needs to do to help do the job we asked him to do. City administrator saying it's in the budget. I'm in favor of keeping it in the budget. But, and as far as the equipment and all that stuff, I guess I'm gonna have to trust the chief to figure out what he needs to do. Whether there's grants and such that you need to update whatever needs to be updated. So that's-
I would keep it in the budget.
How did we, I was under the impression that that's how we were paying for dispatch. So where did the money get pulled from in order to keep that in the budget?
So last year, in order to do some of the CIP, some of what we were, part of it came from, so in order to give money to, like say my salary, for example. You know, there was a lot of admin salaries, there's a lot of people spread around a lot of different funds. In order to accommodate, having some higher, like say from the streets, then we wanted to get as much money as we could, because we know that the streets are a problem. You know, we wanted to have as much money as we could to actually go towards fixing streets, not paying for, you know, like say, you know, me out of the street fund, for example. And so what I did is I didn't completely revert back to 2026 doesn't reflect 2025. What I did was I had to look at how, like say, moving my salary, 50% is paid out of administration, for example. You know, how do I spread the other 50% out without affecting operationally and choking down, say, our street fund to where you know, they can't do anything because they don't have any money available to do it. And so it's a lot of trial and error, you know, as far as, and that's basically what I did. I didn't completely go back to 2025. It's kind of a hybrid between the two, freed up a lot of money. And so that was part of it. And a lot of it was just looking at budgets, you know, actually budgeting appropriately. One of the big ones that came up was employee benefits. You know, employee benefits was the one that I kept talking about. I think I've updated a few times on it, where there's a disconnect between what we actually pay per month as to what we're actually budgeting for. And so what I'm trying to account for there is the amount that the employees pay towards the actual insurance itself. And so what I did there is it looks like it's budgeted as a revenue. In reality, the city never sees that money come in as a revenue. It goes into a sweep account, it's there and it's gone. And so that money goes towards their portion of the insurance. But I try to account for that to keep the mill levy rate down. You know, in order to look at that, for example, you know, I think we budgeted, what did we budget this last year for? I could actually bring it up right now for employee benefits, which is where honestly a lot of this came from. Employee benefits is 26, here we go. And so, you know, you're looking at a budget of 474,408 in 2026 and a budget of, you know, 380,000 in 2027. And so we're budgeting for the entire amount of wherever anybody is on whatever tier they're on. We offer 4 plans. 474,000 is how much it would cost if we paid 100% for everybody. And our actual numbers that we see coming in are more like $320,000 a year. And so if we're trying to budget 10-15% over what last year was, 474 is not even close to being appropriate. And so we needed to bring that number back down to what is appropriate. And so that's what I've done. And so a big chunk of those dollars came from there. A little bit came from moving salaries around. But that's where that money actually came from. And so I ended up with more money than I actually needed, is a good way to put it. Then we had to start tightening our budget from there to see, what we could do.
So in thinking this through about the ninth officer, I guess I'm kind of quick on the draw to say, oh, we just need to use that for equipment, et cetera, but. I mean, we've got a chief that is doing his best to make this department the absolute best that it can be, and if he thinks we need 9 officers, then we need 9 officers.
Okay. Now, I would point out that there is money budgeted in the CIP of the police every year that does go towards equipment purchases. Buying police cars, body cameras, whatever it may be, and it's going to be up to the chief to kind of disseminate what he needs in those. Right now, we have us replacing a police car every 2 years. If we want to go to 3 years, that frees up money that we don't have to budget extra. So we can actually get more equipment, look at more grants, things like that. But it does give room. There is money budgeted there that they put towards the CIP every year just for equipment. Whether it's police cars, body cameras, room cameras, whatever it may be, so.
Do our benefits go up much more when we add another person?
Yeah, it does, it's already budgeted,
That's all budgeted in
It's-
insurance, everything.
everything, it's all part of it.
I don't know. I don't know, I just look at the numbers and see Sabetha has 5 officers and Seneca has like 6. I don't know why we need 9 here. I think we need to work with the county and have 24-hour coverage, and I don't know if training a little bit and we don't have 24-hour coverage for one shift while the county's on. I think that's all part of it, helping working with them. And I thought that was been the plan for the last couple of years, you know, that we needed to cut back on our police department.
Not on 24-hour coverage, we have to have 24-hour coverage. It's not the sheriff's department's job to cover our community.
Well, but how does everybody else do it then?
Yeah.
I mean, it's what I'm saying, like, how does Sabetha and Seneca and everybody do it with 5 officers? I mean, this is every surrounding town, we have twice as many officers. I'm not a police chief, but I can look at numbers and go that we're putting a lot of money into this when other towns are doing it without. I mean, I think Highland has, which is not, it's a smaller town, but I think they have like 1 or 2. So when I look at our budgets, what it is, it kind of makes you raise an eyebrow a little bit and say, what are we doing that everybody else is not doing? So, that's why I say, I mean, we cut down 2 because we were really heavy. I mean, expensive cars and everything comes in line with that.
Yeah,
Stretch those cars out to 3-year replacements instead of 2-year replacements.
And we're reducing the number. Wow.
And reducing one position. And putting it at 9.
I'm still gonna say this, we give the chief a year to see what he's doing, and then if we need to look, if we're able to start reducing numbers, then I feel more comfortable having the chief back in that. I mean, he's gonna know it way better than I do. Sabetha and Seneca, who knows how they do it? I don't really care, actually.
Well, that's what we gotta figure out.
Well,
We're talking about double the force. Why would you not care how other people, towns are doing it?
because I've got a chief who's gonna
It's
take care
our
of it.
job to make sure that we're not spending unnecessary funds. And when they're all doing it at half the price we are, that's unreasonable to say you don't care that another town is doing it for half the price. That's our job to do that. I mean, we gotta be honest with ourselves. The other 3 towns around us have half the staff. How are they doing it? Make some phone calls, see what they're doing different. Doesn't hurt a thing. Maybe it is, maybe our town is just rampant with crime and we do need 9 officers. I don't feel that's the case. But I think that these are questions that need to be asked.
And I imagine our chief will do that.
Let's get some answers about it and see what happens then.
okay, I'll leave that alone for now.
Yes.
We'll give that at least another couple of weeks, allow us to make some phone calls, things like that, but I'll leave that one for now. Like I said, those three. Now, there is some other stuff that has been brought up during budget discussions. Those are the three major questions. The rest of it doesn't affect the bottom line of the budget all that much. In fact, none of this really does either. I mean, these are things that are we're able to, no matter what the decision was made here tonight, that it's not going to affect the bottom line, revenue neutral or not, that obviously would affect it at all. I just need to know what to budget the money for. A couple of things that, were brought up. I know we talked about, alleys were brought up tonight, for example. That's something that I think is definitely worthy of at least a quick discussion here tonight. Nick's still here, right? We can get his input on this as well. I know that I don't know when it was done. I know it was during my time here, but at some point we stopped grading alleys, we stopped putting rock in alleys, things like that. When I first started, we did. But I think it became I think if it was a cost issue, could be why, I don't know. But I think that we could, and Nick, do you have any idea of why or when or how or what?
I haven't maintained an alley since I've been here, so I
Right.
don't know what.
When I started, we did, but I mean, it wasn't long after I started. It was when Dennis Carter, I think, left the city that we stopped doing that. We used to stockpile a lot more rock than what we do now. It's just that everything's very expensive. Doesn't mean that that's the only way to solve the problem, though. There are pieces of equipment that we can get that can help with this. There's, what do they call that thing?
And Winger's using,
Grinder thing.
Harley rig? Is that what that thing's called?
pops up all the
Yeah.
gravel that's just been compacted down, it just brings it up to like a fresh gravel.
Right.
Then are we,
Those things are pretty gnarly.
They are.
We've actually rented those in the past as well. Here at the city a few times, I think but there's things like this that we can do. Now, our capital improvement plan doesn't allow to purchase pieces of equipment like that, but that would also be a policy change among the commission at that point.
I don't think we wanna I don't think we need to take on anything else. Certainly not alleys until our streets are where they need to be. So we can't add until we're where we need to be with curb and guttering and everything. So that's probably going down the road that we don't want to, but when a guy comes in and some of the gravel washed out, like what stops us from just throwing the skid loader over there and scooping the gravel back up and filling the ravine and moving on until the next rain in 6 months?
Yeah.
That's just a nice thing to do for people instead of them being out there with a wheelbarrow. It won't take the guys very long to do that, might be on the way, but
You just throw some concrete in there with the gravel and smash it down.
it.
No.
I admit,
Did you wanna hire
that's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not something that anybody that, like today, for example, I had a resident come in about a pothole that I previously just didn't know about, so we went out and filled it today. Those are things that we can take care of fairly easily.
then are we gonna start getting serious about trash trucks going down our alleyways? Cause isn't that another thing that,
That's a different discussion too as well. It doesn't really affect it doesn't affect the budget, not quite so much, but that is a completely different discussion on whether we want, if that's the subject we want to breach or not.
that's just increased wear and tear? Yeah, that's it. I agree with the alley thing. It's a scary thing. Once we start going down that road, it's gonna quickly get out of hand, but
I mean, had he called the city at all or anything?
I
before coming in?
hadn't heard any, I was there until tonight.
Cause I know there's another spot on Sixth Street where it kind of does the same thing. right there.
There's numerous spots around town. Yeah, there's actually numerous spots around town that this happens at.
The worst spot is the 200 block of Utah, between Utah and. I can't remember the streets anymore. Behind Miners, Kathy Miners'
Yeah.
house.
Okay.
Okay, you can't even get out of that alley without just dragging the whole.
Oh, I know
alley
exactly
apart.
what you're talking about.
And
yeah.
it's a big old concrete thing
It's a
there.
big giant concrete, like, I don't know what, it is or why,
Why is that even there?
I don't know,
What's the purpose?
I really don't know the answer to that one.
Take jackhammer to it, will you?
I would guess keep the water from burning down the alley.
That probably makes too much sense. Yeah,
But,
it's really bad.
but yeah, no, we definitely have some, like, fifth, and I think it's between Iowa and Potawatomi on Fifth Street, is that correct? What, Rock went to Washington.
Yeah, right on the street,
Mhm.
just scoop it back up and put it back, but
So those are definitely things that we can't do, those would be easier.
Kind of felt like that's what they, I was just asking,
yeah, that's what I'm saying, just they run the skid loader over and scoop the gravel out.
help me out and fill this hole.
Right.
Freedom, it's,
And I-
that's some concrete.
And it is, when that's their access to their garage, that does kind of, I mean, we should at least help them, just go. We'll clean it up, it wouldn't take 15 minutes of that of the loader.
So we answered your questions.
So far, yes, and I'm trying to think what my other one was, Alan was one of them. What's that? Okay, I heard somebody say something.
Is it there?
So we're gonna table the ninth officer until you do more investigating. Is that
That's
correct?
right, yeah. We can table that till next time, next day, the next, I know what I need to know for tonight. The next time that we have a commission meeting, which will be on the 10th, that one will be a little more in depth, and that's when we really need to,
Lock
you know,
everything
lock it
down.
in. And so we need to lock those final numbers in, because whatever we advertise to the paper is what, you know, we're going to vote on it. That's going to be our budget for 2027, so.
Nobody on this.
Crazy.
But I feel, trust me, when I went on vacation this year, it was nice to know that, you know, we'd gotten to this point already. I was able to turn that off for a week. Actually, it was, I felt good about it. And so it sounds funny to say that, but I actually felt good about it. It was, I appreciate all the input that I've had up to this point, because, you know, it's what I've needed. And like I said, 2 weeks will be more than enough time for me to figure all this out. We'll have a bigger presentation for you on the 10th.
We certainly appreciate everything you're doing on this budget. It's difficult for us to say, hey, we want to stay revenue neutral, yet we need this, and this. It's tough. We really have to work some numbers, so we appreciate the time that you're putting into it.
Yeah, that's all I have for tonight. I don't think that we need any kind of motion to adjourn, but.
No, we already adjourned just to the workshop.
So I think that's all I need for tonight. Like I said, I appreciate you answering those questions for me, and I'll go forward.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for watching, Brett.